course, you don't try to inflict change when change is
Hello,
gradual.
hello. Can you hear me? All right, y'all. Come on. This is this live
Right?
studio recording. Welcome to Talk Black to Me with the Black Power Hour. Yes, I'm on Restream right now live. No, because I want y'all to continue to talk.
Anyway,
Y'all can continue the conversation. I want y'all to just get in there. This is a test, testing 1 2 1 2, testing 1 2. When we get a viewer, I'll let y'all know. Go ahead and keep talking. This is Talk Black to
When have
Me.
you ever known in the human history man ever created anything? I honestly believe God was one. Because you can't, men, we can't create no life. We can help it.
If you
But we
look
can't.
at
I
that,
don't know who that is.
Maya,
I cannot tell
you will
who
look
it
at it and
is.
say, it will show you that it was a he, she. It was like it was a
no sir, no sir, no sir. Where you get that from? Yeah, I can prove you wrong. No sir.
I want y'all to listen to this
When it comes
conversation,
to-
so that's why I
when it
went
comes to
live.
Kimmy, I'm a master at that. I can prove
That's
you
what I'm
wrong.
saying. That's why I stopped becoming on streets and start working up to like homosexual, bisexual, all that stuff was. That's white supremacy. That's a word that they had created to divide us. Like them homosexuals and transgender people like that, they gatekeepers. They the ones that should balance out masculine and feminine to keep us from
See,
from
I need you to understand. I need you to understand
Check this out
something.
though. It's homosexuality in everything on earth.
One of the
Animals
key.
even have sex with each other.
My
A dog will hump a dog. A lion will lick another female lion.
now,
It's out there. Everything man knows, he basically learned from the animals.
my nature.
Are you
You know
listening?
what I'm saying?
If you're listening,
So, all
comment
that
on the
saying,
video
that's white
so
supremacy.
you can hear
No.
the conversation.
okay,
We're going to be starting our live podcast. This is the Black Power Hour Reloaded. I'm your host, Boss Lady J. I got anonymous visitors in the studio with me live,
is that rational?
and I want you to hear that
Is that
conversation.
Because I started figuring out that I'm borrowing this body. This body is temporary. Since I started,
If you're trying to create your own world, is that rational thinking?
I want to create.
So where's the
Like anything
chat
I
room?
see, everything I'm experiencing is something that I'm trying to reinvent. I don't want to be the same. I don't want to fit in. I'm like to share my energy and time.
None of us remains the same.
You know.
Evolution.
Yeah.
Evolution is party to the word revolution.
Oh, yeah.
Revolution is total, complete, constructive change, right?
Oh, yeah.
The total eradication of a system that is non-productive, a system that works in the interest of the oppressor, and changing it over to a system that works in the interest of the people, the true interest of the people. So within revolution, there is the word evolution, meaning to evolve or to elevate, right? Or to move from one stage to another, not in a retrograde way, right? But in a way that is productive, in a way that is positive, and in a way that promotes advancement, right? So when we talk about Maya, right? I'm glad you said that. There is nothing, no entity in the lexicon of gods. I mean the pantheons of gods in
Just
ancient
listen.
Kemet.
That's all I want you to
There
do.
is nothing in those pantheons of God, and there are 12 of them, from Ra, Ptah, all the way down to Haru-Ur, right? I can show you in the book called The Kemetic Tree of Life. I have it right over there. Now, there is nothing in that pantheon of gods that indicates in any shape, form, or fashion a asexual entity, right? None of those pantheons of gods, none of those gods that said in that pantheon or that Neturu, which is called the Council of Gods, none of them were male and female. Not one of them. They were males and there were female deities, right? When the Greeks looked at us, right, and they said at the feet of Imhotep, they said at the feet of Ramses, they said at the feet of various Egyptian, what they called Egyptian, but we knew were Kemetic scientists, teachers. When they say at the feet of
I'm just
our
trying to figure
fathers
this
and learn,
thing out. So,
right? Plato,
Yeah,
Socrates,
yeah.
Euripides, Aristotle, Pythagoras, they studied under our fathers, tutors. And they went back to Greece with these, what they call Western philosophy, when we know that it is Afrocentric understanding of how nature works, right? They looked at, or they painted a picture of the pyramids as being tombs of great pharaohs. However, we knew that in the feet of the pyramids, the bottom floor of the pyramid, they were what was called chambers of learning. They were called shulis or schools, chambers of learning, where your Masonic temples come from, right? Now, understanding the Naturu. The Naturu called Mayat. It was called
Neteru.
Ma'ati.
Mhm.
It's called Ma'ati. Why? Because I on the end of an attribute is feminine, right? But
Talk
the
black
goddess
to me.
Mayati
Your
was the supreme authority of law, justice, balance, and right action, right? So she was the one who determined if your behavior was in line with the nature of God. Why a woman? Why was a woman charged with responsibility of determining if your nature or if your behavior or your actions was in harmony with the nature of God? Was in harmony with nature and brought about balance to the society? They judged you and your behavior based upon her scale. Why? So what did that tell you about the value of the woman?
Yeah, you got a lot of
The woman is the one who brings balance.
She told us.
She brings balance into an environment with this
No,
chaos.
it's not a clone.
She brings balance to an environment where there's chaos. Why? Why did a woman bring balance to an
We doing
environment where
our
there's chaos?
talk.
Why? Come here.
Have you,
But you got
let me
also
let me
look at
ask
like
you, let me
this.
ask you,
Answer
let me
that
ask you,
question.
let me ask you
That question.
It's the environment
Hold,
too
hold.
that make
Have
a
you
woman.
ever been,
That's the-
have you ever been out at a go-go or whatever?
See,
Things get heated,
I figured it out.
and then a female come along
Figured it
that you don't even know.
I
Can't
figured it
nobody
out.
else calm you down.
Chairwoman.
This female walk up and just calm you totally down.
I figured
You
it out.
don't even know her. Had that ever happened to you?
I figured it
I'm
out.
trying to figure this out.
but I also answer the question of why she the way she is because of the environment that she is.
Okay. Let's say that we're Christians. Let's say we're Christians, right? Let's even say we're Muslim for a minute. Let's say we're Christian and Muslim for a minute. Let's say that we're Kemetic for a minute. Let's say we're all of those things, right? The story of creation varies in its linguistics, but in its principle is the same. Watch this. It says that Ptah breathed of himself into the atmosphere, into the environment, and then souls begin to move. Entities begin to come to life. So Ra, meaning light, was in harmony with Ptah, and Ra's relationship with Ptah and Tahuti was a writer, the scribe. Ra, meaning the sun or the light giver, or the one who is the developmental engineer of consciousness, shined on Ptah's creation and gave Ptah's creation consciousness, right? So during this process, other characteristics had to intertwine themselves with this creation so that man and woman can become whole individuals. Each one of these netters. See, we call them gods because we understand who and what they are. But they were priests. We call them gods because we understand who they were and what they were. When the Greeks came, they called them teachers. We call them priests. The difference between a teacher and a priest. A priest is one who teaches to your soul. A priest is one who teaches to your spirit. Teaches to the spiritual insight within you and brings out of you creativity. Right? A teacher is one who gives instructions. But the master is the one who can bring out of you what's in you for your own constructive use. So we don't call ourselves an intellect. We don't give instructions. All we do is walk you
Okay.
and show you
So,
and allow you to develop from that point. What you have to understand, young man, is this. You
order to
cannot,
edit
under
video.
any circumstance, be successful in subjugating another person to your consciousness. Why? Because you're not making a free person. You're creating a slave.
Exactly.
No, I'm just
You're creating a
No.
slave.
And
And you're blaming white supremacy. Watch this now.
I can prove to y'all.
If white supremacy is a system,
to a woman, right? And you be like, I find you attractive. I want to try to get to know you, this and that. What's your number?
School it, girl.
that's what you messed up at.
You,
That's what you messed up
you
at.
had created the mind for her to give you the number because.
That's all you want is a number?
Well, no.
Is that what you practice?
No,
They say, look, watch this. When we was coming, they say, man, I cracked on this because I didn't get the
Why
number.
are you getting?
Because I'm cracked.
Are you getting the number
You broke
just for
something.
sex?
No.
Why are you getting the number to actually build
You
something?
cracked. They say, man, you cracked on him.
Yeah, but you ain't getting
When
no,
you
you
pushed up on him,
ain't,
cracked on him.
but you
When
ain't getting
cracked on him,
nowhere.
then when you cracked on him, crack means that you're breaking something that's whole.
That's right.
No. I'm just showing y'all an example of how.
And if you're looking
how
for the number,
man is creating a woman's mind. By
if you're
him
looking for the
connecting
number,
with her.
that's where you're messing up at.
You feel me?
Oh, bro, I'm gonna tell
Look,
you right
this
now.
whole conversation
We
got
don't
me
choose
scratching my
nothing.
head.
As men,
You don't
We
look for the
don't
number.
Because women are so much more than this conversation right here.
No. I'm gonna show you where women at. Watch this. Watch this.
They think they got us figured out.
condition was Adam in when Eve was brought forth? Where was
He
Adam
was
at?
lonely.
No. What condition was Adam in when Eve was brought into existence? And it's the same condition man is in today.
That's right.
Adam
Downtrodden.
was asleep.
He was
He was
depressed.
forced into a induced coma. Why? Because it was not for him to know automatically the nature of the woman. His job was to draw it out. His job was to learn, get to know it, rather than have already a preconceived idea of what it is. Every time we have a preconceived idea of a woman's move, we always end up fucked up in the end.
That's right.
Stop trying to guess her motherfucking move and let her make it.
That's it.
Let her make it.
Black
At
power.
that point, you're empowered because now you can determine how to respond to the move. But if you are always in a position, if you are always in a position where you're trying to guess her moves, then you're gonna be fucked up.
Bro,
I'm making
I'm telling you.
I'm gonna
like,
tell you.
I asked this question. She said, "Oh, you joined the Black Panthers. Oh, I'm scared to be around you. I don't want that around me."
That's
Okay,
because she don't know.
But don't blame everything on white
You're
supremacy.
supposed to teach her.
We have to be responsible and understand that once we come into consciousness, there is no more place to blame. We just do what conscience tell us to do.
Missing take out.
Every great
I can't see who on here. That's the part that I don't like. I'm trying to get where
on this earth,
if y'all got
they had a woman
comments
behind
that I
the
can
front.
ask the group.
Why?
in their ear.
So I'm gonna go on my
Without
phone.
listening to that thing, we ain't gonna get nowhere.
Let me ask you a question. Did
Nah,
Mama
don't.
No, I'm serious. No, I'm not downgrading me as
We're
a
gonna do
man.
this every
No,
Saturday
I'm not.
morning.
who freed the slaves?
I don't need that, man.
They
What?
not
I don't need
free.
no woman to
Who-
tell me to move to move to
Who
another
freed the
state.
slaves,
I'm
bro?
no family, friend, no support, nothing. Just work. Just
Who?
trying to figure out. I didn't need a woman in my ear to tell me how to be a man.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Your mother showed you
Yes, you
that.
My mother never.
Yes, you did.
never in my life.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I see
There
y'all
was a
now.
female somewhere.
No, I never had it. I never
Bingo,
had
that's it.
I
I got it now.
never had a father or mother that taught me how to be the way. It's like I raised it myself.
You know
I
why?
had to figure everything out
Now, that statement right there helps me understand you guys. Y'all understand what I'm
Look,
thinking.
today is my mother's birthday. My father didn't teach me how to play basketball, football, none of that. My mother did. My father didn't teach me how to
I
play.
never grew up
My
with
mother
it.
did.
That's what I'm saying. It
What?
was-
My
Found
father
anybody.
taught me how to be a man.
But you did.
I never
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
My stepfather, I mean, he's up to seafood. This man taught me how to be a pussy, a punk, and don't
Okay, so-
stand for nothing.
But
Keep your mouth closed. If somebody put your hands on you, told the teacher, that's a pussy. I disobeyed it because I had a heart on that. I never been emotional trying.
Why did he tell you that? Why did he tell you that? Why did he think he told you?
Because that's just how
I just want y'all to listen to this conversation. If you have
Why
a
do you
question,
think he taught
ask.
you the way he taught you?
because he was scared.
No.
He taught you based on his life experience.
That's what I'm saying. That's his
He
life
taught you
experience.
based on the trauma that he suffered. So out of love,
So he still was
watch this.
half of
Oh,
because he
Hold, wait a minute.
Right,
I need you to understand
intellectual
this.
conversations
I need you to
today,
understand
guys. This is Talk Black to Me with the Black Power
See,
Hour.
listen. You can't learn.
I'll introduce everybody, but they were just having such a good conversation. I just thought I'd go live and let y'all listen in. Turn the oven off.
Now,
Okay, look, just that's what I said. I ain't even got to tell them to turn the oven
I'm
off.
trying to save
Okay,
a lot of time that could be spent on trauma
true Black Power.
and move that time, that energy towards productivity. All right.
Mhm.
No matter what state or condition your parent is in their desire to parent you, they only parent you based on their level of consciousness of what parenting is, right? So we don't know what trauma our mama went through to cause her to respond to her child the way that she does. A mother could have went through hell. That's why she's overprotective of her child.
Mhm.
A father could have been beaten down to the point where he was broken. That's why he raises a broken son. You understand? So we don't understand their trauma. So we don't condemn them. We don't call them weak because they responded a certain way based on their environmental condition. Oh, wait a minute. I'm trying to show you something.
I love it.
We can never say that nobody played a part in raising us. That's a lie
Yeah.
of the first order.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you why it's a lie. I'm gonna tell you why it's a lie. Because a child walking down the sidewalk is learning something.
All day, every day.
Each step that child takes, the child may walk down the sidewalk and fall in the hole the first time. Why? Hold. Pay attention, man. Pay attention. I want you to hear this, right? Because these are life lessons. A child can walk down that sidewalk. It's a hole in the sidewalk. The child falls in her ankle in the hole. So he goes home, heals up, comes back down the street. What does he do next time? Avoid that hole. Why? Because the hole taught him something.
That's right.
You learn something.
Don't keep falling in the same
and the
hole.
child learned from the hole that it didn't like pain. It didn't like being placed in a position where it was rendered defenseless. Watch this. So sometimes when we think that we raised ourselves, we
Right.
truly didn't.
No.
Environments play a key role in the development of the individual.
That's right.
That's why any clinical psychologist say, change your environment if you want to do better.
Right.
Change the people that you're around if you want to do better. If the people that you are around are parasitic and they only take from you instead of adding to your countenance, get the hell away from them. They're vampires. Get away from them.
Mhm.
We spend too much time around entities, individuals, and learning
Talk black to
and
me.
learning from
I
books
can't even say the environment
and learning from books. Learning from books.
They have his hell jogging around that environment.
See, again, you missed the point.
You going
Missed
to
the point.
white supremacy.
You missed the point.
I have a stepbrother. That's
And then it's black people.
his mother and father is white.
See,
You know, but he grew up around us. Bruh, come on.
you're moving and responding to
They're
you're
already doing experiments on us.
moving
By
and
me
responding
moving,
to the world around you
being
based on a oppressed mindset.
They can see this.
Right.
Stuff. They see my ass. It's like this dude
I'm listening.
Washington D.C. Southeast.
I'm
He
listening.
was
You know why
all
I'm
the way
listening?
To Atlanta, he's working out here, and
I'm
he
listening.
got some good.
I'm just trying to find out when I'm gonna hear a free man.
You feel me?
Yeah, that's what I'm here.
I'm listening very carefully,
They trying
and I'm trying to hear a free man.
I'm not
Did you catch what I said to you?
Psychologically,
Did you catch what I said to you?
people that control the world.
Did you catch what I said to you? Did you
It's
catch?
just certain people that is labeled or
Here we
programmed
go
to
with
certain.
the blame
It's certain
game.
people. Certain people, it just you
So,
know.
want you to catch this.
because you're labeled a certain way, you gonna let that hold you back?
Jamal, check this.
I mean,
Listen,
that's for them to do
listen.
that.
Jamal, listen.
I found
listen,
a way.
I'm gonna give you
I break through the
I'm gonna
cage.
give you a jewel that Khalid Muhammad gave me.
Uh-huh.
I was 18 years old, right? In federal penitentiary down north.
Mhm.
18 years old. I was fierce. I was behind the wall. Khalid was a young minister in the Nation of Islam at that time. Came down to Lorton along with Dr. Abdullah Ali Muhammad of Mosque Number 4 in DC.
Mhm.
And Khalid was speaking to the youth.
Yeah,
You
just
said one, you
listen,
said
pay
two.
attention. This is Talk
Speak
Black
to you.
to Me.
Right? So
Conversation
he opened the
amongst
floor
the
for
men
Q&A,
in the new
question
Black
and answer.
Panther Party.
Right? So rather than
Self-defense,
asking Khalid a
which
question,
is getting ready for Sunday
I stood up.
powwowing.
Pay attention there. I stood up
Oh,
and I began to speak based on what
Yeah,
my
my shit.
understanding of our people's oppression was.
Mhm.
Khalid did like
Black
this.
resistance.
I'm listening to you, brother. I'm listening to you, brother. I'm trying to hear a free man. But the words coming out of your mouth indicate that you're still a slave.
Mhm.
Black power.
I said, ho, what do you mean I'm still a slave? He says, you think like a slave. Thus, your responses are slave-like responses.
Mhm.
But we're constantly placing blame here, placing blame there, placing blame this place, that place. Without a balanced level of consciousness, we're thinking and respond like a slave.
Mhm.
And we're struggling for balance. We're struggling to be recognized. We're struggling to be accepted. We are struggling to find our way based on a plantation psychosis,
Black power.
which has
Talk Black
produced
to
a
me.
neurotic behavior pattern.
Mhm.
Everything has to fall
Somebody
out
talk
with
black to
what
me.
you want it to be. It don't work that way. God don't move that way. God only works in harmony with the natural elements around him. That's what makes him God.
Talk
God
Black to
do.
me.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever
Don't
watched?
say God all sweet and diny. No, God take two.
Hold on. Have you ever watched Roots? Have you? No, honestly, 1, 2, and 3. Have you ever looked at Roots?
Yeah.
What did you pull up out of Roots? Kuta Kinde, Toby, whatever you want to call him. His father was a slave. His father tried to teach him a certain way of how to be a
Well,
slave.
actually, Kunta's father wasn't a slave.
Mm.
Kunta's father was a chief. He was an elder. He was a chief, and he was a part of the tribal council in the village of Tupare.
Uh-huh.
Right? Kunta
Mhm.
was on a manhood expedition because he was going through rites of passage.
I'm
But
watching.
actually, right? Kunta's father,
But
and
but
because he
my
was
whole
going through
point-
rites of passage, Kunta was captured.
my whole
And
point was
he was a part of the tribal council.
he, in his mindset, I'm a man. Everything in a nutshell, I'm a man. I don't want to be a slave. Everybody around him,
He
look,
kept
stop running, stop
kept
doing this, stop doing that. He got his half his feet chopped off, so he went
But
run.
what did he do?
But he still, I'm a man. I'm not gonna be your slave.
Why?
Yeah.
Okay. Watch what he said. Watch what he said now. At the point where they cut his foot off, they didn't kill him. Why? Because they still saw something in him that was productive. They saw something in him that could still be used, something in him that still had a purpose. So they didn't kill him. They didn't hang him. They didn't use him as an example to the other slaves. They just cut his foot off, thinking that would slow his movement down or break his desire for freedom,
That's
physical
right.
freedom. See, once
Black
Kunta
power,
Kinte
yeah.
realized that
I'm just
physical
playing around
freedom
with this restream,
was still going to be governed
but I'm loving
by
it
an
so far.
oppressive
Trying to
entity,
figure it
what
out.
did he do? Did he stop running? No,
Mhm.
he just ran differently.
Mhm.
Okay.
Pay attention, it's a lesson here.
If one door is closed,
Kunta didn't
another
stop
one will
running, even when those of us who were watching the movie thought we were looking at a broken man. He was not broken. Why? Because he just chose another way to move.
Mhm.
He knew that his ability to achieve physical freedom was hampered. So he began to move towards the next generation. Kizzy. He got the
Mhm.
children on the plantation. He began to teach them secretly. So when Kizzy was a baby, when Belle was pregnant with Kizzy, the first thing that Kunta did when Belle gave birth, he ran in the slave house, grabbed his daughter, took her to the woods. He follows the light. the moving light. You heard the drummer. So when he got to where the drummer was, the drummer gave him instruction. He greeted the drummer. They had a password. He said, Assalamu alaikum. The drummer said, Wa alaikum salam. So they knew that they had a common spiritual connection. So at that point, the drummer, who was an elder, knew that Kunta still held true to the old ways. Because he told me, he said, never give up the old ways. Teach the old ways to the ones coming behind you, but in secret. Never let the ear of the Tubab hear the old ways and never write them down. Most of our history from Kemet to here wasn't written.
It's orally passed
It's
down.
orally passed down. The way to preserve the history of a people is to shroud in mystery. Pass it down through oral tradition. Now watch this now.
Media and stuff, man.
Watch this. Watch this now.
Social media.
Kunta, you notice I never call him Toby.
Black power, y'all.
Kunta Kinte came from the village of Tumare in West Africa, along the banks of the Cambi Belongo, which is still a river. Today, still has the same name today. That tribe still exists today. Because the people never forgot the old ways. Even though colonization was taking place all around them, they still never forgot Sankofa. They still never forgot how to reach back and retrieve that which made them great. Those principles, those folkways, those mores. And they held true to them. And then they developed means by which to teach it to the next generation. So they developed rites of passage programs. Watch this now. Kunta's journey began when Kizzy was born.
Black power.
He took Kizzy and he took her.
People
he took
are
her to
loving
the
this
highest
conversation.
point.
Y'all keep going.
Took her to the highest point. Held her up, not to the moon, man. The moon has a beginning and an end. Not to the sun, because something put that there. But to the atmosphere around it and said, Fin kindling duran kaishti, behold, for the only thing greater than yourself. What was he telling you? The only thing greater than you, baby, is you.
That's it.
Because he was putting her in harmony with nature, the source from which she came. He was returning her to her origin. So he began to teach her the language, the old language. He didn't refer to her as just Kizzy. Kizzy is a name that is a Swahili name, which means stay put. Doesn't mean stay on the plantation.
Right.
That means stay rooted in your principles. Stay grounded. Stay the foundation. Stay tight with who you are, not who they're trying to make you to be. And he introduced her to her tribe. He would let her interact with certain people on the plantation unless they were of that tribe. The Fulani, the Mandinka, the Shanti. These are various tribes. When they were on the slave ship, the wrestler, what did he lean out there and say? He said, I'm going to call out the tribes. Who's the Wolof? Who's the Fulani? Who's the Ashanti? Who is the Mandinka? Why? Because he said, speak to your brothers in their language, in their tongue. Why? Because he wanted a line of communication to stay tight. He didn't want them to be, he didn't want their communication to be broken, because their communication is broken. Infiltration sets into their consciousness and they're able to be taken over.
That's right.
Watch
Black
this.
power.
Kunta, demonstrating the point, demonstrating the point that Joe was trying to make to you. Kunta never gave up his quest for freedom, but he always reminded Kizzy of who Tubab was. Tubab meant white devil. He always reminded her of who Tubab was and never trust them, no matter how good they appear to be to you. That goodness is followed up by, now I'm going to call them the faithful. They're only good and they engender you only to the point where you serve a purpose for them. They're never genuine in anything.
That's right.
So he was reminding her of who she could trust, who she couldn't trust. But he was teaching her along the way. He got with Fiddler. He knew that Fiddler was already a broken man, but he was a smart one. Fiddler knew that it was strategically sound to get close to the master. Because that's how you got movement. You could move plantation to plantation, spreading your message. So he told Kunta, learn how to move about in such a way that it's non-threatening. Don't look threatening.
Yeah.
Don't look threatening. So you got to exercise the art of war.
That's
Deception.
right. Mhm.
Exercise a little bit of deception. That's a military tactic.
Mhm.
When in the face of a greater force, appear weak.
Mhm.
Draw him in. Knock him off balance. Make him too cocky. If you
Mhm.
get too close, bust his head.
Like
He's
power.
misreading you. Pay attention now.
There's laws.
He told him, he said, you can do what you do, but just not in the presence of the master.
That's right. Almost failed, yeah.
Because once he perceives
So
you as
this
being
is
a
what
threat,
we teaching.
once he perceives you as being a formidable threat, then he moves quickly and swiftly to get rid of you.
The art of war.
So at that point, you don't have time or a chance now to teach the others what you know, because you moved the wrong way and you were removed. So now your wife is messed up because her husband ain't there.
Mhm.
Your daughter is messed up because the guidance ain't there from her father. The environment is messed up because now you don't have a strong example of manhood present anymore. So now you removed yourself from an environment because you didn't understand that truth spoken out of season is dangerous. Pay attention to this time. See, Bobby Sales wrote a book called Seize the Time. Elijah Muhammad had
Like power.
a course called The Theology of Time. Farrakhan is doing this series called The Time and What Must Be Done, right? There is a time and a season for everything. Your timing has to be right. In order for you to be successful, you have to be able to move in sync with the time, right? You are moving on this system with an outdated, antiquated, archaic ideological construct. You want her to be subjected to you. You want to make her your subject. It can't be that way.
Mhm.
There had to be a balance in the relationship in order for the relationship to be successful. Why? Because if there's no balance, at some point it's going to become oppressive.
That's right.
So you can't be talking about white supremacy and trying to move her away from white supremacy, but you're trying to exercise black supremacy over her. It
That's
don't
right.
work that way.
That's
You're just
right.
removing one oppressor for
For
another.
another. That's it.
It don't work
And
that
that's
way.
a learned
You
behavior.
teach her to be a leader.
Right. Like
No.
power.
Help her to learn.
You was wrong about that one.
Help her learn.
Bruh,
Help her learn how to be a leader.
ever since they pulled us out of Africa, bruh, they've been
Did he just say women can't lead
suppressing
men?
us men. You know, they get us away from the so they can do whatever they want to do.
Boy, don't you know let me sit there.
Right now
Let me
today,
get on you right now.
it's
Boy, don't you know I'm the
black
chairman of
Locked up.
this outfit right here. I'm the organizer. I'm the one that puts things in place. You move on my command and not your
Men
own.
think that women can't lead.
That's a damn lie.
No, they not.
These boys got a lot to learn. Don't
Gangs
they,
came into
sisters?
existence because of
Like
what?
power, my
How
talk
did
black
gangs
to
come into
me.
existence?
Talk black to me.
How did gangs come into existence? That's my only question. Don't
Power.
listen.
I want to
I'm
see
about to
y'all
teach you
all
something.
tomorrow
I'm about to teach you how to
at
stay
Shepherd
on
Park
task.
on Martin Luther
Right?
King and
Everything
Malcolm
y'all
X
gotta tell, hold
Boulevard
up, I
for our
understand.
community walk day.
All right,
We just
that's how we're gonna learn.
we pre-gaming right now,
Ask
and we
you a
really
straight
teaching
question.
these young people some
How
real
did
stuff.
gangs come
This was
into
just a test run to see how Restream worked. We'll come back later on and finish the conversation.
What produced
If
gangs?
you enjoyed the conversation,
What
leave your
produced what we
comments.
look at as
If you
gangs?
want any,
What
if you want to participate, I'll send you the link. And when we schedule another Restream, then you can come on and we can do this live.
There
Okay.
you go again.
All right. I'm gonna let them go and it's school. Yeah, this old school versus new school right now. So we're gonna go and finish this conversation.
Because the Bloods,
And I will holler
Power.
black at you. Okay? Black power,
They
black
came
love,
up
black
out
peace.
of the Black
Black
Panther
harmony.
Party. Crips came out of the Black Panther Party.
Let's hear that
Black
little
King
bit.
Vice Lords out of the Panther movement. The only ones that did not come out of the Panther movement was crews like the Salsas and stuff like that. They were already in existence, and the Panthers recruited out of them. That's a bunch of